Jamaican tell me, America don't even want y'all. Watch this space. That's very interesting that you would say that. Because Jamaica is being colonized by China right now.
Hello guys, once again welcome back to my YouTube channel. Remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly like, comment and subscribe to my channel. And for my returning subscribers, I want you to know that you're much welcomed on board. So today I want us to look at this video of a black African American woman talking about Chinese on the way conquering, or rather colonizing again, Jamaica. So let's have a look at it and then I'll be back with more comments.
I had a Jamaican tell me, America don't even want y'all. Watch this space. That's very interesting that you would say that. Because Jamaica is being colonized by China right now. I'm hearing that you can't even go to some of your own beaches because they have bought the land, and if you want to go on your own beaches as a local, you gotta pay. So your statement seems more pot calling the kettle black than anything.
In Jamaica right now.
So there's been an increased rate of women being, or children, female children being taken and found throughout Jamaica. We're going through things like accessing our own beaches. A lot of them are privatized due to hotels, so the locals aren't able to actually go to a Jamaican beach without paying, or not being able to go to the beach at all in certain places because people have bought the land.
But it bothers me when I look at the history of how we fought for liberation followed by independence in the Caribbean, only to hand that independence back over to another race of people. So we fought for freedom from the white man, and now we're handing over that freedom to the yellow man. When I was in Jamaica, 2015, I keynoted National Heroes Week, Irie FM and Ocho Rios and Marcus Garvey's back, me and Muta Baruka, actually. And while I was in Jamaica, I heard all these rumblings about the Chinese. And I've been to Jamaica before and I've seen the Chinese. But in studying what they have done since my last visit, I was astounded and appalled to find out that they had made so much inroads into controlling and influencing the infrastructure of the Jamaican people. The Chinese built a road from Kingston, one side of the island, to the other side of the island. And in exchange for the roads that they built, the Jamaican government, unless this has changed since then, gave the Chinese total control over the toll money that will be made by people using the Northwest or East-West Highway. Why would you give a foreign power complete monetary control of the tolls on this road that you know half of Jamaica gonna be using? You're talking millions of dollars of revenue you're giving to the yellow man just because he built the road. In addition to that, the Chinese are building it's probably done by now. They were building at that time 2 schools, and they were bringing Chinese educators over to help the Jamaican people educate black children. They built the Children's Hospital, which is supposed to be largely staffed with Chinese. They also gave the Chinese total control of all tourism on both sides of that highway that goes from one side of the island to the other. I was also told that they gave the Chinese the right to drill in natural rainforests in the Jamaican on the Jamaican territory for Chinese exploitation. They'd given them tax abatements, and they also purchased, if I'm not mistaken, the port, the main port of Jamaica.
All right, they own the port.
Is owned by the Chinese. Exactly. If another race owns your port, that means they control what's coming in. They control what's going out. What about the drugs? What about the guns? What about the COVID? You don't know what them people bringing in. And you mean to tell me that the Chinese care so much about Jamaican people that they're not going to educate our kids and take care of their health? Chinese don't care about black folks. Go to China. Go to China and see how they treat black people in China. So to me, what I think this is the government of Jamaica, like so many African governments, so many other Caribbean governments have done. They've gotten in bed financially with the Chinese. The Chinese have studied the way the white man has practiced neo-colonialism throughout Africa. And the Chinese has learned that these black leaders don't really care about their people. They're all about their pocket. So I'm gonna do what the white man did, but I'm gonna do it one time better. I'm gonna offer them double the money. You let me take over this land right here, I'll get the white man offering you $1 million, I'm offering you $3 million. And I'm gonna build you a retirement home. And I'm gonna pay for all your kids to go to college in China. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm gonna give you a private military. So the Chinese have basically become neo-colonialists 2.0. They're outdoing the Europeans, you follow me? And they're giving Caribbean and African leaders offers that they can't refuse. And guess what? When you abdicate on that loan that they give you, because all this is loans, these are not handouts, it's all loans. When you abdicate on the loan in that contract, you have to give them large concessions of land and large concessions of your economy. There's an African country right now, is it Uganda? There was an African country who defaulted on their loan to the Chinese and they now own their national airport. I forget which, they own the airport now because they couldn't pay back the loan. The Chinese know what they're doing. The problem we have as African people is we tend to think anybody who's not white is a friend of ours. Nobody is our friend, not the Arab, not the Chinese, not the Latino, except the African Latinos who identify with us, not the East Indians, not the Native Americans. We don't have friends. But black people have been seduced into this multiculturalism, which says the brown man is your friend, the yellow man is your friend, the red man is your friend. No, they're not. Black people don't have no friends. And my greatest fear about Chinese neo-colonialism 2.0, my greatest fear about Chinese neo-colonialism 2.0 is when the time for revolution comes, because there will be a second revolution because you got to get rid of the Chinese. You're going to have to fight 10 times harder. When you fought to get the white man out in the 60s, in the 40s, in the 50s, it was a little easier because he don't have the numerical strength. The white man had to use other black people in his armies to fight blacks because they're only 10% of the world. They don't have enough. China is the most populous country on the planet Earth. They have 1 billion people, not to mention their reserves around the planet, okay? Don't get me wrong, African people, we're 2 billion, we're the biggest. The problem is most of us identify something other than black, which reduces our numbers. I'm not African, I'm multiracial. I'm not African, I'm Latino. I'm not African, I'm Samoan. You follow? So we are disintegrated based on these names. Here's the point that I'm making. Because the Chinese have the technology, because the Chinese have the manpower, the second war for African independence, the second revolution for African independence against Chinese neocolonialism 2.0 is going to be 10 times as bloody, 10 times as long, and it's going to require the sacrifice of 10 times as many people. We will not be able to throw them out of Africa and throw them out of the Caribbean as easily as we did the whites. And the whites wasn't easy. That was a hell of a war. So just multiply that by 100, and that's what we're going to have to deal with the Chinese. The worst thing we're doing is giving them all this, and it's being done through the politicians. The politicians are doing it. But here's 3 things that keeps Africa enslaved to the Chinese and the white man by virtue of their politicians. Number 1, we have been distracted in America, the Caribbean, Africa, all over the world. It's a Pan-African problem. We have been distracted from development with democracy. Everybody's focusing on who to vote for. You're not looking at the conditions. What's going to change whether he wins or he wins? Because guess who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your oil. Who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your gold. Who's financing both of them? The same people stealing your coltan. You follow me? So democracy is a joke they play on black people to make you think you can have radical transformation without revolution. The reason the white man pushes democracy globally so hard is if there's ever a breakdown in the black man's confidence in democracy, the only alternative is revolution. So that's number 1. Democracy is a distraction from development. Number 2, when I travel, especially Africa, but it's true in the Caribbean also, Black people are more concerned with their tribe being in control than they are with liberation from foreign control. Are you following me? I've seen it. So when the elections is coming up, it's not about freeing us from white supremacy or Chinese imperialism. It's about, are my people going to be the president? Is somebody from my tribe going to be the prime minister? And because they're more concerned about tribal imperialism than African independence, this democratic scheme that they run on black people continues because we're so petty and so small in our thinking. I just want to make sure his people don't get the presidency. I'm not even looking at the bigger picture. The white man knows this. The Chinese know this. So they come in, exploit, finance both sides, so no matter who wins, they get all the resources. And then the third issue is most African leaders and Caribbean are foreign educated. They go to Britain for their education. They go to France for their education. They go to Belgium. They come to America for their education. And what did Dr. Carter G. Woodson say in Miseducation of the Negro? The college-educated Negro is seldom of any use to his race because the education he gets is an education that takes him away from identification with his people. So most of our African and Caribbean and American leaders are Negropean. They have an African body, they have a European mind. So the white man and the yellow man are controlling the black man through remote control by virtue of conscious control of the way that he thinks. The entire thought process of the African leader, there's a few exceptions, but for most of them and the Caribbean, the entire thought process is that of a white man. How can we get free?
So guys, I hope you've watched the video up to the end. And clearly we can see, or rather we all know, that Dr. Umar, he's been a hero for fighting for the rights of the blacks. So guys, in this video we've seen that Jamaica, or rather the leaders of Jamaica, the Jamaican government, really did give, or rather sell, their port to the Chinese. So what does this mean? So guys, if another race owns your port, trust me, that race is responsible and controls what's going in and what's coming out, and you can do nothing about it. Nothing. So why would you do that? We've also heard that Jamaicans have to pay for them to be to some of the beaches. These are their beaches, but now the government sold them to the Chinese. Ladies and gentlemen, China doesn't care about the black folks. It doesn't. We've all seen how the Chinese treats the blacks in their country. Well, for those who have doubts, I suggest you Google it, or rather on YouTube, you'll still find it. You'll see that the Chinese doesn't care about the blacks. So why? Why would our leaders sell what's important to us, to our country, to these people? So, these Chinese, they studied the whites' practice of the neocolonialism towards Africans and towards the blacks. And now they're doing it even better than the whites. They are doing it better even the whites. Why am I doing that? So allow me to call it, like you've heard Dr. Omar call it, neocolonialism 2.0, which is like, what do I mean that? It means that that's an advance. Because if the whites came and said, for this port, or rather for this beach, we'll give you 2 million. The Chinese will come and they'll give you 4 minutes. And to our greedy leaders, they won't be able to resist that. And that's being a sellout. You are selling your own people. Our black leaders, they don't care about us. They don't care about their people. They only care about their pockets. They only need their pockets to be full. So guys, I want you to look at this video of a politician from Ghana. His name is Hassan. Listen to what he's saying, and then I'll be back with more comments.
About the whites. Do you know what we are still doing? We are still slaves. You know why? It's not about gold. We have given everything to them till date. All the sectors are managed by whites. The oil sector, the whites have taken it. The mining sector, Chinese and Canadians have taken it. Bauxite, Chinese have taken it. Tell me one sector that belongs to Ghanaian till date. Even the banking sector, Nigerians have taken it. We are in the 21st century slaves. We are in the 21st century, but we are slaves in our own country. Look for the best houses in this country and go there and see those who are living there. Foreigners. Where do we live? The big companies in this country managed by foreigners.
Would you pass a law where you will regulate foreigners, taking over?
I will pass a law. If you remember in my 2020 campaign, I said that when I'm president, no foreigner can buy property in Ghana.
Are you still stand by it?
I still stand by.
How will you do that?
Because I'm going to issue 3 passports.
Okay.
One passport that Ghanaians will have. It's a full Ghanaian, father Ghanaian, mother Ghanaian. And those people are the first class Ghanaians. And those group of people are the only people who can buy property in this country. If you're not a full Ghanaian, you cannot buy property.
Okay.
Because first of all, we're losing everything to the foreigners. The whole country is being taken. Go out and look at the big mansions and big companies and big properties. It's not for Ghanaians. We are joking. In the next 10, 15 years, no Ghanaian will have huge property unless you are damn rich. Every day, go around and see. All the properties springing up are for foreigners.
On that note, let me ask
why do we think because we are poor, we must sell? I get sad and sometimes I get mad.
Is this because we are selling our properties in foreign currencies?
It's because we are giving it for peanuts. We don't have to sell the property. We lease the properties.
If we are giving it for peanuts, then why can't our Ghanaians afford it?
Because the peanuts we are giving out, the Ghanaians do not even have it. We've made the system so hard. We are not protecting what belongs to us.
Yeah, once again, welcome back. So, as you've heard from the Ghanaian politician, he said that most of the bigger buildings in Ghana, they're not owned by the Ghanaians, but by the whites, by the Chinese. Why is this so? Our black leaders, they are selling out. They are selling us out. They are selling our country's treasures. They are selling our country's resources to these foreigners. And instead of them taking care of us, of the people, of the citizens of this country, they're taking care of themselves. That's greedy. They want their pockets to be full, while we suffer, we die. Poor medical facilities. Look at the education systems. So guys, let's speak up. Let's speak up, let's speak up, let's speak up. Until these leaders, until our leaders stop this sellout game. We are the ones who are being affected by this, not them. We are the ones being affected by these things our corrupt and greedy leaders are doing. They are the ones benefiting, but we are not benefiting in any way. This money, they are taking it. They think it's for free, but they are taking it without knowing that it's like a loan. And now we are the ones who gonna be affected to pay these loans. So guys, I'm your host Larry. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the love you've shown me throughout this journey. And until we meet again, peace out.